GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action. Live from the GMNA News Center, this is the Lunch Break News Hour.
Good afternoon, Toronto. This long weekend brings altered TTC schedules, street closures, and heavy traffic as festivals roll out, plus the Caribbean Carnival Grand Parade lighting up downtown. We'll also hear from our weather desk in a moment. Over to you, Nathan.
The Toronto Caribbean Carnival Grand Parade will roll through downtown Saturday, featuring over 100 vibrant steel bands, dancers, and elaborate costumes along the traditional route.
The parade begins at noon near the Harbourfront Centre, travels east on Queen's Quay, then heads north on Bay Street before concluding at Nathan Phillips Square.
Admission is free for all attendees, with complimentary welcome drinks for the first 200 visitors at the designated beverage stations near the starting point.
We've got the parade details fresh and plenty more to cover, so stay with us as we dive into the day ahead. Good morning, Toronto.
Transit schedules will shift, several streets close for festival events, and many retailers adjust hours across Toronto this August long weekend as the province observes Simcoe Day. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Transit riders will see altered service this weekend as the TTC runs a reduced schedule from Friday evening through Monday night for the civic holiday. Buses on the 97 and 4-7 routes skip downtown loops, while subway trains run on a Sunday timetable, with trains arriving every 15 minutes instead of the usual 5. City crews have closed Yonge Street between King and Queen for the Simcoe Day Street Festival, and the Gardiner is shut at the Lakeshore Boulevard interchange for a pop-up market. Retailers along Queen West and the Eaton Centre are opening later on Saturday and closing early on Monday, many citing staff holidays. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, downtown.
Dermatologists, led by Dr. Julia Carroll, caution Toronto's Gen Z that the rising trend of tan maxing increases skin damage and cancer risk, reversing past sun safety gains. Tobias Kwan has the full story.
Doctors on the front lines say the surge of tan maxing among young people is undoing years of public health progress. Dr. Julia Carroll explained that the practice, spending hours in booths or under artificial lights to achieve the deepest possible hue, drives a sharp rise in skin cell damage. She warned that repeated exposure can accelerate premature aging and dramatically increase the odds of developing skin cancer. Recent surveys show a noticeable slip in the protective habits that earlier campaigns built into the Canadian mindset. Dermatologists are urging Generation Z to swap extreme sessions for sunscreen, shade, and regular skin checks before the hidden toll becomes irreversible. The message is echoing across schools and social media platforms, where influencers are being asked to model safer skin habits. Tobias Kwan, GMNA News, Kensington. Ontario Provincial Police and emergency crews responded to a serious collision on Highway 400 at Finch Avenue in North York, leaving one person dead and closing all northbound lanes for investigation. Dev Showri has the full story.
Police say a multi-vehicle collision on Highway 400 at the Finch Avenue interchange this morning left one person dead. Ontario Provincial Police and emergency crews arrived before 9 a.m., secured the scene and began a full investigation, prompting the closure of every northbound lane. Traffic was rerouted onto the southbound carriageway and onto nearby arterial roads, causing significant delays for commuters heading into the city. Witnesses reported a sudden slowdown followed by a loud impact, and first responders worked quickly to extract victims. The highway remains shut while investigators piece together the sequence of events. No further injuries have been reported at this time. Dev Showri, GMNA News, North York.
Police responded just after 1:30 a.m. Saturday to a stabbing on Yonge Street near Shepherd Avenue East in North York, where a man was transported to hospital in non-life-threatening condition. Dev Showri has the full story.
Police responded to a stabbing call just after 1:30 a.m. Saturday on Yonge Street near Shepherd Avenue East in North York. Officers found a man with a single wound to his torso and secured the area while emergency crews arrived. Paramedics treated the victim on scene before transporting him to a nearby hospital, where doctors said his condition is not life-threatening. No arrests have been announced, and investigators are reviewing surveillance footage from the intersection. The incident sparked a brief traffic slowdown as officers redirected vehicles while they canvassed for witnesses. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. The investigation remains open as detectives continue to piece together the timeline. Dev Shohri, GMNA News, North York.
Municipal candidate nominations across Ontario close on August 22nd, amid a steady drop in local candidacies that researchers and civic groups say threatens participation rates. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Nominations for Ontario's municipal elections wrap up this evening, with the deadline set for August 22nd. Researchers tracking local politics note a continued slide in the number of candidates stepping forward, a trend that has stretched across several election cycles. Civic groups on the ground are urging communities to consider the impact of fewer voices in city councils, while a handful of hopeful candidates are still filing paperwork before the cutoff. The province hopes that the final tally will indicate whether recent outreach efforts can stem the long-term decline in civic participation. As the clock ticks down, officials in city halls across the province are reviewing the last batch of submissions. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Toronto.
Later we'll hear how Toronto police arrest driver after high-speed street racing crash in Scarborough, plus more headlines. Stay tuned, we will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Good morning, Toronto. Toronto police have arrested a driver following a high-speed street racing crash on Highway 2A near Meadowvale Road in Scarborough on July 17th. Involving a green Lamborghini and a white Mercedes. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
Police say a driver was taken into custody Tuesday after a high-speed street racing crash on Highway 2A near Meadowvale Road. The July 17th collision involved a green Lamborghini and a white Mercedes, both tearing down the road before the Mercedes spun out and hit a guardrail at roughly 9:30. Several occupants were treated for injuries at a nearby hospital. Detectives from the Toronto Police Service say the arrest comes 2 weeks after the incident, part of a broader investigation into illegal street racing across the city. Authorities confirmed the driver faces charges related to reckless driving and dangerous operation of a motor vehicle. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Scarborough.
Toronto police are investigating 2 early morning shootings in Scarborough on Friday, leaving 1 person injured. Officers are gathering evidence and speaking with witnesses as the investigation continues. Tobias Kwan has the full story.
Police are investigating 2 separate shootings that unfolded in the early hours of Friday across Scarborough. The first incident occurred near the intersection of Kennedy Road and McCowan Road, where officers responded to reports of gunfire shortly after midnight. A single victim was taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The second shooting happened just minutes later in the neighborhood of Malvern, near the intersection of Shepherd Avenue and Midland Avenue, but no injuries were reported there. Toronto Police Service confirmed both scenes remain active, with detectives canvassing the area and gathering witness statements. No arrests have been made, and the motive behind the incidents is still unknown. Investigators are reviewing surveillance footage from nearby businesses, and patrols have been stepped up throughout the East End as the inquiry continues. Tobias Kwan, GMNA News, Scarborough. Toronto's Caribbean Carnival returns this weekend, July 31st through August 2nd, 2026, with a grand parade closing several downtown streets. Police have deployed additional officers after a recent festival shooting. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
The city's Caribbean Carnival kicks off this weekend with a grand parade that will shut down several downtown streets from July 31st through August 2nd. Organizers say the 3-day celebration will feature music, costumes, and food vendors along the route, drawing thousands of participants. Toronto Police Service has announced an increased officer presence throughout the weekend, citing a recent shooting at another popular festival as the reason for the heightened security. Officers will be stationed at key intersections and will monitor crowd movement while traffic is diverted. The police deployment aims to keep the festivities safe and the streets orderly as revelers enjoy the cultural showcase. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, downtown.
Toronto police are searching for a man accused of running an elaborate fortune-telling scam that used ritualistic claims to defraud multiple victims across the city, prompting an ongoing public alert. Simona Conquo has the full story.
Police are now canvassing the downtown core after a self-styled fortune teller allegedly duped a string of clients with elaborate rituals and frightening predictions. Officers say the man claimed supernatural powers, charged victims for private ceremonies, and promised to lift curses or reveal hidden wealth. Complaints poured in over the past weeks, prompting a citywide alert on July 31, 2026. Detectives warn anyone approached by the individual to cease contact and report the encounter. They are reviewing surveillance footage from nearby cafes and transit stops, hoping to pinpoint his next move. Police ask anyone who saw the suspect wearing a dark coat and carrying a leather bag to come forward. Simona Conquo, GMNA News, Toronto.
Toronto's middle-class families face soaring Muskoka cottage prices as demand for waterfront homes outstrips limited supply, pushing affordable options out of reach. Real estate experts say the market has shifted dramatically. Dev Shourie has the full story.
Toronto families once flocked to Muskoka for modest weekend getaways, but today the market is out of reach. Over the past few years, waterfront lots have surged past the price range of a typical middle-class mortgage, forcing many to abandon their cottage dreams. Real estate analysts point to a wave of affluent buyers snapping up prime lakefront parcels, while the supply of affordable plots has shrunk to a handful. Local cottagers say new construction is dominated by multi-million-dollar mansions, leaving little room for modest cabins. As a result, families are either renting short-term stays or looking farther afield, reshaping the historic summer season pattern that defined Muskoka for generations. Local shops report fewer weekend crowds, and schools see a dip in enrollment during the peak holiday months. Dev Shourie, GMNA News, Muskoka.
Now let's turn to the forecast and see what weather's in store for our long weekend.
A falling pressure pattern and a westerly jet are pulling moisture east, leaving Toronto cloud-laden but dry. On this date, the all-time high reached 36.8 degrees Celsius in 2006, a blistering mark set during an extended heat wave that pushed the city into the mid-30s for a week straight. The record low, 15.4 degrees Celsius, fell in 2023 when an Arctic surge slipped unusually far south, snapping the previous chill record. Normal highs hover around 26 degrees and lows near 15, so today's mild 24 to 26 range sits comfortably between those historic extremes. The live radar shows a clean swath of clear skies over the Greater Toronto area, with no echoes of rain or snow. The absence of precipitation reflects the current dry, stable air mass, even as the falling pressure hints at a system approaching from the west later this evening. With the jet stream aloft steering any moisture eastward, we expect the radar to stay quiet until after sunset, when a faint band may drift toward the outskirts. Turning now to today's outlook. At noon, the city feels mostly cloudy with a temperature of 21 degrees, humidity 96%, and a gentle southeast breeze at 9 km per hour. Pressure is near average but falling, indicating an unsettled system gathering strength to the west. A westerly jet streaming at 78 km per hour aloft will channel that system eastward, yet the current air remains dry, so no rain is forecast. UV index is 6, and the strongest wind will reach 15 km per hour from the southeast by mid-afternoon. No weather alerts are in effect. As the sun dips, clouds will thicken, leading to an overcast evening before the next system arrives. Now for the extended outlook. Tomorrow, the forecast shifts to overcast skies with a high of 21 degrees and a low of 18, and an 85% chance of rain as the incoming trough taps the lake's moisture. Monday snaps back to clear skies, offering a warm high of 26 degrees and a cool low of 15, ideal for outdoor activities. Tuesday mirrors Monday with another clear day, high 24, low 15. Wednesday brings mainly clear conditions, a high of 25 and a low of 20, but a 30% chance of rain in the late afternoon as the jet nudges a weak front through. Thursday returns to overcast with a high of 27, low 20, and a modest 20% rain risk as lingering moisture lingers. The pattern showcases a rapid swing from wet to dry, with temperature swings of up to 11 degrees, underscoring the dynamic mid-summer atmosphere. And that's your weather. Remember, the lunch break is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, we break down traffic, the Caribbean Carnival lineup, and the Jays' deadline dilemma plus Mumu's flagship. Stay tuned, we will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Severe traffic is building around Exhibition Place and Lakeshore Boulevard as the Caribbean Carnival Grand Parade draws crowds. The parade's route forces lane closures, pushing back up onto the Gardiner Expressway and spilling onto downtown core. Drivers on the Gardiner should expect lane reductions from the ongoing rehabilitation, with detours adding several minutes to travel time. On Parliament Street, lane closures and a sidewalk detour between Distillery Lane and the CN Rail Corridor are slowing flow, especially during the afternoon rush. Near Dufferin Gate, moderate congestion persists as construction crews finish paving work. On the TTC, routes 510 and 310 are running on a schedule to accommodate parade floats, so riders may need to allow time for boarding. Several stations, including Downsview Park, Eglinton, and Kennedy, are experiencing escalator outages, meaning passengers should use stairs where possible. Expect the afternoon commute to remain sluggish, with travel times up to 15 minutes longer on affected corridors.
The Grand Parade Toronto Caribbean Carnival 2026 rolls down Exhibition Place and Lakeshore Boulevard today, a sea of color and sound you won't want to miss. It's the headline celebration of the city's biggest summer festival, perfect for a quick weekend splash of culture. If you're looking for a party vibe, the Toronto Carabana Party 2026 at Nest on John Street offers free entry for ladies and one complimentary drink, a perfect spot to keep the carnival spirit alive after the parade. Grab a drink, dance to Caribbean beats, and stay in the festive flow. For a more low-key bite, Union Summer Market at Union Station is open now, serving street food stalls, local artisans, and live tunes, ideal for a lunch break bite without leaving downtown. And later this week, the Taste of India Festival lights up Nathan Phillips Square for 3 days of bold spices, cooking, demos, and cultural performances. Mark your calendar for a flavor-packed weekend. And now here's Marcus with sports.
Morning Buzz, Toronto. The Jays are fighting for playoff momentum as the deadline looms. Reliever Jeff Hoffman isn't ready to quit. He's urging Toronto to hold the roster together and make a bold push before the July 31st deadline. His confidence signals that the bullpen believes it can close the gap, and fans should watch for a potential late-season surge. With the American League market soft, Toronto finds its trade deadline options murky despite Dylan Cease's recent dominant outing. The front office must balance a possible sell-off against the value of a healthy Vladimir Guerrero Jr., leaving fans to wonder whether the Jays will gamble or regroup. Toronto's pitching staff delivered a 3-run victory over St. Louis, with Louis Varland getting the start and Dylan Cease tossing 6 innings of 3-hit, 1-run work, racking up 7 strikeouts and 3 walks. The performance solidifies the rotation and gives the Jays momentum heading into the next series.
Mumu Financial Canada in Markham is celebrating the opening of its second flagship store at CF Markville. The US-based platform brings stock and options trading tools to Canadian investors, and this new retail space gives local traders a hands-on hub for education, tech support, and community events. By expanding its Greater Toronto Area footprint, Mumu signals the rising appetite for fintech services right here in the city. The store will host weekly workshops, bringing seasoned analysts into the neighborhood and making sophisticated investing accessible to newcomers. For Toronto, a city built on innovation, Mumu's presence turns a shopping center into a learning lab, helping everyday Canadians grow their financial confidence. Coming up, we'll break down OHL-approved sale of Barrie Colts to businessman John Kerry and its impact on hockey.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
North America's biggest Caribbean carnival kicks off today, flooding Exhibition Place and Lakeshore Boulevard with music, color, and thousands of revelers. As the Grand Parade transforms the historic waterfront into a street festival celebration filled with dazzling costumes, rhythmic drums, and a vibrant atmosphere. Carl Dumont is there. Carl Dumont.
Thanks, Jordan Parker. I'm standing on Lakeshore Boulevard where the curbside is already a kaleidoscope of color. Steel drums echo off the historic brick of the old railway sheds, and a river of people streams past the towering glass of the Intercare Center, their faces painted with the bright reds and golds of Trinidadian flags. Vendors line the street selling jerk chicken, plantains, and mango smoothies, the scent mingling with the lake breeze. Road crews have sealed off the avenue at midnight, and today the concrete transforms into a moving stage for dozens of steel bands, dance troupes and masquerade groups. Spectators clutch flags, children dance in front of a marching band, and seniors share stories of the first parade they ever saw. The energy is palpable, each beat pulling the crowd tighter together, a reminder that this festival isn't just a party. It's a living thread that weaves Caribbean heritage into the fabric of Toronto. Carl Dumont, virtually at Exhibition Place and Lakeshore Boulevard.
Good morning, Toronto. The Ontario Hockey League Board of Governors approved the transfer of the Barrie Colts franchise to Toronto investor John Kerry, marking a new ownership era for the team. Ainsley Booth has the full story.
The Ontario Hockey League's Board of Governors gave the green light Thursday for the Barrie Colts to change hands. The franchise will now be owned by Toronto area businessman John Kerry, whose firm JONVIC Capital Inc. is taking control. The decision came after a unanimous vote at the league's summer meeting in Barrie, sealing the transfer that was pending for months. The approval was announced during a brief press conference held at the Barrie City Hall. Kerry, a longtime investor in local sports, said he plans to keep the team rooted in the community while exploring new revenue streams. The Colts, a staple of OHL competition for decades, will continue to play at the Barrie Memorial Centre under the new ownership. Ainsley Booth, GMNA News, Barrie.
Toronto City Council is pressing the Ontario government to establish a province-wide framework for data centre impacts, as rapid construction sparks resident calls for a moratorium over environmental and community concerns. Dev Shouhri has the full story.
Toronto City Council has formally asked the provincial government to draft a province-wide framework that would assess and manage the impacts of data centre development. Council members say the rapid expansion of these facilities across the city is outpacing existing oversight, prompting calls for clearer standards on energy use, heat waste, and neighborhood disruption. Some local residents gathered at recent community meetings are pushing for an immediate moratorium on any new data centers until comprehensive guidelines are in place. Officials stress the need to balance economic benefits with environmental stewardship and quality of life concerns. The Council's request moves the issue to the next level of provincial policy discussion. Dev Shouhri, GMNA News, Toronto.
Thanks for joining us, Toronto. Tonight's reminder that the Caribbean Carnival is back with its grand parade this weekend added a splash of color to our city. Stay safe on the roads and keep an eye on those street racing updates. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you.